The first COP took place in 1995. This year, we will have the 30th COP, but we will not be discussing about the 29 COPs we've had so far, but only COP3 and COP21. COP3, or Kyoto Protocol, took place in Kyoto, Japan, and was adopted on 11th December 1997. After a complex ratification process, it entered into force on 16th February 2005. Currently, there are 192 parties to the Kyoto Protocol. This legally binding treaty committed developed country parties as those historically responsible for the high concentrations of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere to reduce their emissions by an average of 5% below 1990 levels during the first commitment period, which was between 2008 and 2012. In December 2015, at COP21 in Paris, parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change reached a landmark agreement to combat climate change and to accelerate and intensify the actions and investments needed for a sustainable low-carbon future. Paris Agreement is widely considered a comprehensive international agreement on climate change. It addresses various aspects of the issue, including mitigation, adaptation, and finance. Our focus today will be on Article 4, 7, and 8. Article 4, under the Paris Agreement, focuses on mitigation, aiming to limit global temperature increase to well below 2 degrees Celsius, above pre-industrial levels, while pursuing efforts to limit it to just below 1.5 degrees. This framework helps nations to work together towards a shared goal, promoting collaboration and shared responsibility to tackle the global climate crisis. Article 7 establishes a global goal on adaptation to enhance adaptive capacity, strengthen resilience, and reduce vulnerability to climate change. The Paris Agreement recognizes that adaptation is a global challenge faced by all. Another important win for Global South was the inclusion of loss and damage in the Paris Agreement. Article 8 recognizes the importance of averting, minimizing, and addressing loss and damage associated with the adverse effects of climate change, including extreme weather events and slow onset events, and the role of sustainable development in reducing the risk of loss and damage. The Paris Agreement works on a 5-year cycle of increasing ambitious climate action, where countries inform how they will reduce greenhouse gas emissions in order to reach the goals of the Paris Agreement. Now the question is the Paris Agreement legally binding? The Paris Agreement is a legally binding international treaty on climate change, adopted by 196 countries at COP21. It is a landmark in the multilateral climate change process because for the first time, a binding agreement brings all nations together to combat climate change and adapt to its effect. When we say the Paris Agreement is legally binding, it means that all participating countries are obligated to follow the commitments outlined in the agreement. This includes things like submitting nationally determined contributions, or NDCs, reporting on their progress, and making efforts to achieve their goals. While there are no formal penalties for failing to meet the targets, the agreement establishes a framework for transparency and accountability, promoting global cooperation and peer pressure. So what are the governing bodies that govern these, the Kyoto Protocol, the Paris Agreement, and the Convention? The Convention, the Kyoto Protocol, and the Paris Agreement established 3 governing bodies: the COP for the Convention, the CMP for the Kyoto Protocol, and the CMA for the Paris Agreement. The UNFCCC Secretariat provides organizational support and technical expertise. 2 permanent subsidiary bodies, the SBSTA and the SBI, assist the governing bodies. Informed by IPCC, the UNFCCC Secretariat, and other relevant international organizations, the subsidiary body for scientific and technological advice, or SBSTA, provides technical advice to COP. The subsidiary body for implementation, or SBI, plays a crucial role in advancing the implementation of the UNFCCC, Kyoto Protocol, and Paris Agreement by focusing on transparency, mitigation, adaptation, finance, technology, and capacity building. So where are we now? 10 years after the Paris Agreement, some significant advancements have been made, but major challenges remain in achieving its goals. While 2024 was the hottest year on record, surpassing the 1.5-degree warming threshold, the long-term goal of limiting warming to below 1.5 degrees is still within reach, though it requires urgent action. The science is clearer than ever, and the impacts of climate change are more severe than previously anticipated. More needs to be done by Global North to address and minimize the impacts of climate change. Thank you.